How's the royal family? I pray that everyone is doing well. Well, my royal family, you see that this is a bit of a long video, but a very necessary video because what I did here is went back into some archives to refresh the royal family's memory about the outright premeditated murder of Botham Jean. And it turned out that today there was a pre-trial hearing. And it just turned out that when that popped up, that Botham Jean's mother had gave an interview yesterday. And I said, excellent. And I do have a bonus video, and we have all heard this video that I'm going to play, but this bonus video will speak volumes for itself. That's how I'm going to just close it out with this bonus video, because we don't get to hear or get to, let's put it this way, I often talk about us being affected by the system, and since Botham's family come from another country, they have not encountered a lot of the tons of isms in America because they have a different mindset. They don't deal with that. They see themselves more. But Botham Jean was always extremely concerned about the police. And I can remember that his mother said, "Why are you always so dressy?" You know, he would always, it would be rare to catch him, you know, without his suit and tie. And he just figured if he kept his self, you know, looking non-threatening, because, you know, they look at the entire royal family as a threat, you know, literally our sheer existence. We have gotten killed for that. The thing that gets me is I often, and I said it just recently, talk about the animal kingdom, and in the animal kingdom, they all know who their enemies is, and they keep a healthy distance from each other, you know, because they know what's gonna happen in their world. But in our world, we got a lot of our folks that want to mingle with the enemy, and the Creator told us to ye be separate, and we have overall been disobedient. We really have, and we are feeling the ripple effects of it. So, you know, looking at this picture here, she cannot hide who and what she is, and you know, they call themselves, you know, giving her a new look. So I'm gonna go deep, my royal family. This is one of them videos, extremely serious to me. I'm gonna take my time. Usually I try to condense things down, but sometimes to give a bigger picture, we need to go in more detail. So I'm going to read this article, and then we're going to go in the archives. So, Botham Jean's mother breaks her silence on Amber Guyger's 911 call. Allison Jean believes that 911 call was leaked to gain sympathy for Amber Guyger. And I totally agree with her mother, because she has 3 lawyers now. 3. And when the third one was put in place, I was expressing to Lisa Cabrera, it is something in this case that is gravely concerning them, and they cannot find a way out. So we know that Esau going to use their bag of tricks, and this is what also with this unquote leak caused to have this pre-trial hearing today. So anyhow, Amber Guyger gunned down Botham Jean in his own home back on September 6th. Her trial, which has been delayed several times, was rescheduled more than a year after the suspicious shooting. The 911 call was released in late April, and Jean's mother, Allison Jean, is now speaking out. So as we continue on up here, and I will not be playing this 911 call. It's just too much for me. You know, some of these videos we do, they can really, you know, touch your soul. According to an interview with Sight Magazine, Allison said she believed the 911 call was leaked to gain sympathy for Guyger. Jean also said listening to it sparked some anger within me because I'm not hearing the dispatcher pay much attention to him. I didn't hear the dispatcher ask about his condition, whether he was breathing, whether he was responsive, and I am wondering whether it was because it was a police-involved shooting that the victim didn't matter. The 911 dispatcher only seemed to be concerned about Guyger, and she only sound worried about losing her job. On the call, Guyger could be heard breathing heavily and cursing in between telling the operator what she has done. Guyger openly says several times that she probably going to lose her job. I'm fucked, she said at one point during the call, before later adding, I'm going to lose my job. After asking the operator to send a supervisor, Guyger kept repeating, I thought it was my apartment. Oh, this shit sounds so pathetic. Just so fucking pathetic. You know, you can just, she's not a good actress at all. And then Guyger throws out there later, Guyger says later in the call that I'm so tired. Okay, so you can listen to that and see me going down here. The leaked 911 call came out 1 week after it was reported that people who Guyger arrested while she was a police officer were having their cases dismissed. Citing court documents, the Dallas News reported that Dallas County prosecutors in one case wrote that they were seeking the dismissal because the fired officer was indicted for murdering an innocent man in his own home. WFAA said that it obtained the recordings after months of reporting, but it could have been leaked by Guyger's defense attorneys or even her former colleagues at the Dallas Police Department, looking to carry favor with potential jurors in her murder trial. The 911 call has not been officially released by any law enforcement agency. These motherfuckers is greasy, and we already know it. Okay, so as we continue on September 6th, Guyger said that that following a long day on the job as a Dallas police officer, she implausibly mistook his apartment for her own after ordering Jean not to move, shot him twice before realizing the errors of her ways. Her story was met with doubt because of a number of factors, especially her ascertain that Jean's door was ajar. It appeared to show that apartment doors in the building shut automatically, which seems to indicate that Guyger is lying. In addition to the inconsistencies in her alibis, which have changed several times, Dallas police, of which Guyger was a member for 5 years before being fired, appeared to be helping to cover up the shooting from their colleagues. The department was accused of allowing Guyger enough time to scrub her social media accounts and got her story straight before turning herself in 3 days after killing Jean. It also gave Guyger enough time to move out of her apartment, which was never searched by police, despite 5 warrants allowing them to do so when they went in Botham Jean's place and stuff with this bullshit and stuff. So, if anybody is new to the True Royal family, me and Lisa Cabrera have a channel called Cabrera Santana where we do interviews, and we interviewed the main witness, which her name is Bonnie, and she what I wanted to say about her. Okay, yeah, she was the main witness, and I will put the link if nobody haven't heard this interview, and also join our channel too as well, and it's going to clear up a lot of things, and I want y'all to keep in mind as I continue on with this that her job was walking distance. And when we interviewed the main witness, she told us that in Botham Jean's apartment, he can look out the window and see the back of the police department. So this shit about she didn't work this long shift, they acting like she didn't drove 1,000 miles and she was so out of it that she didn't even know where she was. And they have designated parking in this complex. So let's just keep that in mind. And like I said, I will put that link there so y'all can check it out. So as we continue on, this video that I'm getting ready to show was done November 30th, 2018. So, former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger indicted for murder in Botham Jean's death. DA said it was intentional. It was an intentional event. So this video is a good refresher, and it's a little over 5 minutes. Let's see here. Let's get this thing going. Okay, gotta do a little refresher here.
Meanwhile, shortly before a Dallas County
these old damn ass commercials. Hate commercials.
grand jury indicted her for murder. Fired Dallas police officer Amber Guyger was booked and then bonded out, we found out. Some are calling today's decision justice. Others say the indictment is political. Marianne Martinez gets us underway tonight. Reaction over at DPD headquarters. Marianne?
Well, Doug, tonight some are applauding this charge of murder for Amber Guyger. There had been demonstrations planned for tonight in case that wasn't the case. Many of them saying anything less would not have been justice. In an orange jumpsuit, former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger is now charged with murder.
Our office, through Jason Hermans, representing the Public Integrity Unit, did a thorough job of presenting this case to the grand jury, not only presenting the evidence, but also explaining the law.
The Dallas district attorney says the office presented hundreds of interviews and evidence no one in the public has seen to the grand jury. Guyger's attorneys call the murder charge political and not based on facts.
Responding to more of the political and vindictive nature of the outpouring of emotion, as opposed to just sticking with what I believe would be the facts of the case.
The grand jury could have gone with a lesser charge of manslaughter, recommended by the Texas Rangers, who initially arrested Guyger and investigated the case. The murder charge means the grand jury believed Guyger intentionally killed Botham Jean, a 26-year-old accountant and devout Christian, as he sat in his own apartment September 6th.
He felt safe in that apartment, and he was violated by her coming in and murdering him.
Guyger maintains she mistakenly went to his unit, a floor above hers in the same complex, and thought he was an intruder.
Amber Guyger actually believed she was in her own apartment, but this is not any type of cold-blooded murder situation.
I look forward to the next step, which is a conviction of murder of Amber Guyger, and more so of a penalty, the proper penalty that will cause her to reflect on what she has done and the pain that she has caused.
And again, Amber Guyger is a free woman tonight. As part of the terms of her release, she must stay away from drugs and alcohol. She has turned over her passport, and she can't travel without the approval of a judge. Her attorney says she plans to stay in the Dallas area and attend all of her court hearings. Reporting live from Dallas, Marianne Martinez, CBS 11 News.
Marianne, thank you very much for the update from there. Now, so many questions today about how we started in the very beginning with this, with manslaughter, and then we end up with a murder indictment today. Spent some time to talk to attorney and former police officer Pete Schulte about that tonight. He believes the initial manslaughter charge against Guyger was actually wrong from the beginning. That's his thought. He thinks this is a clear case of murder. In his words, here's why.
When Amber Guyger pulled her gun, she intended to shoot Botham Jean, and that's murder. We don't have a premeditation requirement in Texas when it comes to the murder statute. We don't have murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree like other states. When she pulled her gun, what we do know now is that she intended to fire, and that's how these cases are evaluated. What was done at the time the force was used?
Is there something, delineation to be drawn between ordinary citizen and police officer, given the moment that occurred?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, Doug. I think one of the questions is you know, when Amber Guyger walked up to what she thought was her apartment door and it was ajar, and she went in, would a normal citizen have done that? Would they have stepped back and called 911? The other part of that is that Amber Guyger had a gun on her hip. Most people who are carrying a gun lawfully with a handgun licenses are not going to have a gun that accessible. I mean, she was able to reach down, pull the gun. She's trained to do that when she's facing a threat, to pull the gun and fire. So that's what's going to come down to is, I mean, the fact that she was a police officer is going to help the jury understand why she reacted the way she did. But I don't think at the end of the day it's going to be what the jury rests its case on, but whether to convict or not.
Did also ask Mr. Schulte tonight about possible change of venue. It's been talked about through this day. He did tell me he does expect the Guyger trial to probably be moved out of Dallas County because of all the publicity surrounding it, but no decision made. And no date set yet for Guyger's next court hearing. District Attorney Faith Johnson thinks a trial...
Okay, so now we are going to get into the present. So, Amber Guyger back in court, trial date set. Now I couldn't find nothing about no damn date, cause y'all know I be digging, I be looking. So this video is a little over a minute.
Amber Guyger was back in court this morning, and it appears the judge has set a September trial date.
But not before issuing a stern warning to honor the court's gag order. CBS 11's Nicole Jacobs is live at the courthouse where there was a hearing about some of those leaked 911 tapes. Nicole.
Russ and Karen, those leaked 911 tapes caused quite a stir in the legal world, and Judge Tammy Kemp was sure to point that out this morning. Her reasoning for bringing this hearing together was to bring both sides together in order to learn if they have determined exactly who leaked the material, which was under gag order. Both sides said it did not come from them. Judge Kemp says Amber Guyger deserves a fair trial just as anyone does. You may remember Guyger was indicted for the September shooting death of Botham while he was in his apartment that she mistook as her own. She was subsequently fired by the Dallas Police Department weeks later. An attorney for the John family and his pastor were also in court this morning afterwards, speaking to the media on why they believe the audio was leaked.
We want this case to be tried in Dallas County, and the frustrating part right now is we feel that strategically people are leaking this type of information now a couple of months before the trial for the mere purpose of trying to taint the jury pool.
The judge also set dates for a jury pool to be brought in for September 6th and September 13th. September 6th happens to be the one-year mark of the deadly shooting. We're live in Dallas.
Right.
Nicole Jacobs.
So now we have a date, and don't hold on to it because they, like I read, they keep delaying, and eventually they're going to get around to trying to see if they can get a change of venue. Stall tactic after stall tactic. So even though they threw them dates out there, we know how the enemy gets down. So I have another video to show the royal family. This is supposed to be this murderous bitch new look, and nothing is being said, but I want y'all to pick up on her energy. You can even see her, you know, even on her mug shot, it's pure evil. Sometimes it's just good to just observe, and I do a lot of that, so we see who the judge is. And it's supposed to be her new soft look, you know. So white supremacist lawyers. She walking like she got a pole up her ass. All right, my royal family. Just wanted to show that. And so, as we continue on here, I want to read this to y'all. Now, when I was reading that article, y'all know that you know, they gave her ample time to scrub her social media, but she didn't do a thorough job. So she has here posted, I wear all black to remind you not to mess with me because I'm already dressed for your funeral. And then here at the bottom she has, yeah, I got a gun, a shovel, and gloves. If I were you, back the fuck up and get out of I'm trying to pronounce it the best I can, my fucking ass. Now I never even heard of a word like this. And so I looked it up and I found out the meaning of it. And now maybe the initials mean something else and somebody can let me know. But this is an actual word, and y'all know I'm terrible at pronouncing words. But anyway, it said here, ma shows that the speaker is apathetic, uninterested, or indifferent to the questions or subject at hand. Okay, so as we continue on, my royal family, I have more to show you. So I found this article, and it exposed more of what she didn't scrub. So right here it says she brags about being violent, being short-tempered. Merritt said, that's the attorney, Botham Jean's attorneys. She bragged about should have said the use of force, and she spoke out adamantly against things like kneeling during the anthem, and said that NFL died of colon cancer, a reference to former NFL player Colin Kaepernick, who started taking a knee to protest racial injustice and police violence in America. The attorney also cite posts where Guyger wrote that folks were lucky if she went through the week without killing anyone and celebrated one shot, one kill. So we got right here, which she forgot to take down. Let me see here. So she says here, if I have to explain, sometimes there's justice, sometimes there's just us. You won't understand. So, you know, she's arrogant, and a short female can have a Napoleon complex too. And let's not lose sight, she has shot somebody before, and Lisa Cabrera did do the video about and I think they were all drug cases that were dismissed, and if I'm correct, I think it was 9 cases. I'm telling you, something is going on in this case, because she got 3 lawyers, and these lawyers are 6-figure lawyers. This bitch don't got no job. You know, she not a part of the police department, but they got that secret KKK fund. But when we are supporting our own, like the main witness that me and Lisa Cabrera interviewed, and when Phil from the Advice Show, or now the Diaspora, they were watching Phil and want to imply, because our own financially supported the main witness in this case, because she lost her job and all of that, and you know how they like to muddy up shit. So as we continue on, so I already read that one. I wanted y'all to I wanted y'all to get a better of a visual on that first one. So as we continue on, she says here, waiting on Obama to attend a cop's funeral. Okay, sarcastic and racist as fuck. And then she has here, the NFL died of colon cancer. So, somebody put here a racist white wing cop on a power trip. What are the odds that the cop who murdered Botham Jean would be a racist right-wing cop on a power trip? So that just gives us an insight. This stuff is not surprising to us at all. And they basically said that She's been with the police department 5 years. So, as we continue on, I want to make sure I got everything. Okay, so as we continue on, let me see what I have here. Okay, we got, it's a damn shame. What a waste. Lord have mercy. So, I'm going to play the bonus video.
The information received yesterday is to me worse than the call that I got on the morning of Friday, September 7th. To have my son smeared in such a way, I think shows that there are persons who are really nasty, who are really dirty, and are going to cover up for the devil, Amber Guyger. I don't know my son to be involved in such. And I want to find out whether the toxicology reports on Amber has been released, because she was the murderer.
That's right.
I want to find out whether her apartment has been searched, whether her car has been searched, and also on the Saturday when we spoke to the Texas Ranger, he was saying that there was no reason in his mind that she ought to have been locked up.
That's right.
So there was enough time for 3 days that she roamed the streets after committing such a crime. So far, my family and I have only been asking for a fair hearing for my son. We have also been asking the community to engage in peaceful protest. But if information like that will come out to tarnish my son's reputation in his death, I will not sit back and see that justice does not prevail.
That's right.
It is time that we recognize that lives matter.
That's right.
My son's life matters.
Right.
At 26 years old, he had done so much. So if you extrapolate what he could have done, had he reached my age, then you would have seen how much I have lost. So I'm calling on the Dallas officials, whether it be the DA's office, I don't know the Dallas system, but whoever it is, please come clean, give me justice for my son, because he does not deserve what he got. Thank you.
So, that's how I wanted to end it, because we don't hear, in this country, we don't hear our folks talk like that. You know, they love to put the mic in our face and say, do you forgive the person that outright slaughtered one of your relatives? And this woman ain't playing. And like she said, she the devil. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes, definitely. So expect, my royal family, expect bullshit, continuous bullshit. And what I want to leave y'all with is, you know, they had a funeral in Dallas, and then they took him home and had a second one. And the funeral that they had in Dallas, to show you how these motherfuckers get down, they're going to run to the attorneys at the funeral talking about there was weed in Botham Jean's apartment. What the fuck did that got to do with him being slaughtered? 2 bullets pumped in his body. So, no toxicology reports ain't came out. I think it centers around that. I could be wrong, because we know how the enemy get down. Pay attention to things. if Amber Guyger's toxicology report, because they tested her ass, if she was clean, they would have leaked it out like they leaked out the fucking 911 calls so people can be sympathetic to this murderous bitch. And if Botham Jean would have came up tested dirty, the words they want to use, they would have leaked that out. You see the direction that I'm going, my royal family? We really must not lose sight how the enemy gets down. This is a true ass war, and I always say I'm full tilt ready for war. I study the enemy. I know how they get down on a daily basis. So just think about what has been leaked out, because they are gravely concerned about something. So I'll leave it there, my royal family. Render your voice with your beautiful divine words. And as always, my royal family, I thank you for your love. I thank you for your support. And with that said, Ashe. What a shame.